Hello again, this is Doug, the 2-Minute Gardener. Today we're going to look at how to plant a big tree. So trees that are really heavy, bigger than 24-inch boxes, can come in really heavy sizes or even massive sizes. These 48-inch box olive trees weigh about 1,500 pounds. They are pricey trees. Those guys clock in at about $3,000. And if anything, you have a tree that big, you got to use a crane. You got to use some heavy lifting equipment. We're going to look at a couple of 36-inch box trees in this video. These trees weigh between 500 and 700 pounds and are tough to move, but we're going to show you two different ways to plant these big trees. All right, first of all, you got to dig the old hole. Now, this particular property, the dirt was pretty tough, so they actually had this bad boy to dig the holes for the trees. Now, when you're planting a 36-inch box tree, which is what you're going to see in this video, you need a hole that is at least 36 inches wide. You can get wider, so wider is better. If you can do, say, a 48-inch hole that is 40 inches wide and about 24 inches deep, that's the best thing for these trees. All right, here we go. They're pulling the tree out using the skip loader part, the front part of the big old bulldozer, because again, this is a tree that probably is about 500 to 600 pounds. As 24-inch box trees go, or out of the 36-inch box trees, this one's a little on the small side. It was just popped up to a 36-inch box, but it is still really heavy, probably too big for a couple guys to handle. So they bring in this heavy equipment, they chain it up to bring it over to the hole and lower it into the hole, and that way the guys have a better shot of getting it right in there. Now, it's really important, I can't stress this enough, that you measure the actual root ball in the box, not the box itself, but the actual root ball, to make sure your hole is that deep. You do not want to plant a tree too deep in the hole. That's the most important thing when it comes to planting these trees. You want to make sure that that crown where the trunk meets the roots is just a couple inches above the top of that hole, because you are eventually going to mulch that area, which we'll see a little bit later in this video. So again, really measure twice, dig once. Make sure you measure the root ball and make sure the hole is no deeper than that. You can go wider, and I always encourage people to go a little bit wider, but make sure you do that. All right, you got the tree in the hole. Now it's time to amend the soil around it. So you want to make sure to use some of that good Grow Power Plus. I've talked about that in videos. Really good for helping bad, tough soil. And again, some composted topsoil, which is what you see there. And finally, a slow release fertilizer like these Best Packs. These are great slow release fertilizers. For a 36-inch box tree, you want to put 12 to 15 of them around the planting hole. All right, so these three trees are now planted. Make sure you do a water well, because that way the water stays right where the roots are and won't run off. All right, so that's how we did it with a bulldozer. Now let's look at it again. Same thing, just to review, but this time with a front yard tree, no heavy equipment. Again, measure the hole, measure the hole, measure the hole. Make sure you got that right hole. So this one is a tipu tree. The one in the first part of the video was a crepe myrtle, and because it was a front yard that the trailer can get backed up to, they're just going to muscle this sucker on in. And there we go. There we go. They're muscling that baby down the ramp. Now this is a 700-pound tree. It's considerably bigger and heavier with a heavier root crown. All right, again, measure, measure, measure. Measure that root crown before you drop it in. And then, well, as you have with all these boxes, you just kind of break the box apart. These are not really reusable. They're basically meant to be thrown out once you're ready to plant. So these guys bust the bottom off the box, but keep the sides on, because that makes it a lot easier to wheel this thing into place. And again, anything bigger than the 36-inch box, you got to use the really big, heavy equipment because it's really heavy. 36-inch box, you can use 4 guys who are really well built, can muscle and wheel that thing, a few feet down into the position if a crane or a bobcat is not available. All right, once you've done that, again, amend the soil with some good soil amendments, some Grow Power, some Best Packs, which is what these guys are doing. They're chucking it on in there. I love Best Packs. Those are just the best things around. Make sure you keep tweaking, keep double checking that that crown is nice and just a little bit high above the finished grade. Mix in that soil, and then again, water well. It's really important to do that water well, because you want the water to kind of stay in the general root zone of a very young tree, and that's what a nice water well looks like. So make sure you soak that baby good and tight. just to get it in the ground. Always, always, now here's the next important thing, remove those nursery stakes, and you want to double stake the tree. So let's talk about double staking a tree. This is important because you want to take those nursery stakes off because they're constricting the tree's ability to absorb food and move food to the roots. Double staking the tree gives the trunk strength and also gives it the ability to grow outward without losing its support. As you can see with these trees, they're using these stakes and using the rubber bands. Now, these are tree bands, and there, by the way, are links in the comment section on how to get these bands. But it's also important, as I mentioned in the video, that you want to make sure to put these stakes perpendicular to the wind so it kind of moves and sways in the wind. And here's that same tree. 6 months later, it's leafed out. It's doing great. It's happy. Well, there you go. That's how to plant a big tree. That's all the time we have for today. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to get more of my garden videos. Until next time, this is Doug, the 2-Minute Gardener, saying thanks for watching.